Bill here with the Metals Minute. Today is Wednesday, March 29th, 2023. Well, we have gold up a fraction again this week, and silver is up for the third week in a row. All the details are in the write-up. We have some interesting things going on. There's a new gold exchange that's opening in Japan. It's already opened, and they're specializing in smaller gold trades down to 10 grams per trade. And so as a reminder, 10 grams is approximately a third of an ounce of gold. So that's something new. It's an old exchange that's being revamped to bring metals back into the picture. The original exchange began back in the 1600s when they would trade rice back in the day. And so this is believed to be a size of trade that will appeal to many individual investors. Not necessarily a large volume there initially, but it's another place, another entity that is pricing metal that will compete with some of the other exchanges out there. So it's just another way to trade gold around the world and highlight the attention that people have on it. So we'll keep our eyes on that and see how it develops. We also have some issues going on in our own banking sector. The Federal Reserve has changed the reserve requirements hundreds of times over the last 100 years. Never before, and now in the last year or so, they have removed reserve requirements. So there are no reserve requirements for banks to hold any certain percentage of cash against deposits. And so we also have ramped up borrowing. Banks are borrowing from the Fed at a rate not seen since the '08 financial crisis. Now the difference is back in '08 they were borrowing money to meet their reserve requirements. Now there are no reserve requirements. So the ramped up borrowing is simply because banks are out of cash. They're out of liquidity. And so they're borrowing funds so they can operate and be able to try to pay back those that are wishing to withdraw their funds. So it's a lot different type of borrowing going on right now, and it kind of indicates to us that the banking issues and banking crisis is not necessarily over, like they try to pass off sometimes, that everything is fine. Well, if it was fine, they wouldn't be borrowing at a pace that we haven't seen since the great financial crisis. Not quite to that level, but the highest since then, and it's getting close to that. So what does that mean? Well, one thing it means is increased gold sales. The U.S. Mint has put out their information for March, and we've seen 1 ounce gold American Eagle sales for March are more than January and February combined. So there's been a massive increase in interest in physical gold and silver. Silver is also still strong out there. Over 5 million ounces of silver here in the United States have been purchased from the U.S. Mint. So there's a strong appetite for physical gold and silver, and it's no wonder considering all the things going on in the world. We also see the BRICS nations expanding. That's the 5 nations that make up the BRICS. There's been 8 additional nations apply in the last year. Some of them have been arch enemies. So as the world begins to join together in other spheres of influence that represent over half of the world's population, it will continue to put additional pressure on the value of the dollar here at home. And so we can continue to expect to see the influences of inflation on everyday items that we purchase here, and a continued need to own physical precious metals to help alleviate that risk. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again soon. Have a great day.